For those who are joining us, I want to say a warm welcome. We are going to be starting in a few minutes, but before then, we enjoy some few photos from some of Ruthie Kinotie's work, Makeup by Ruthie. We are starting in just a few minutes. And we are now live on YouTube. Those who are joining us on YouTube, welcome. Welcome. We are starting in just a few minutes. Let me just share my screen. All right. I think we are good to go. Catherine, we're okay. We are now live on Facebook and here on Zoom. I'd like to welcome each and every one of us that is joining us here on Zoom, and even those ones that are joining us on YouTube. Welcome. Receive a very, if I was able to, I would hug all of you, but I just want to say a big, warm welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for making the time to be with us this evening. We'd like to make this as interactive as possible, as we've always done in the last couple of weeks that we have started this Wedding Wednesdays. And so I'd like to invite our attendees to feel free to introduce yourselves on the chat section, on our chat section on Zoom. You can just mention your name, and if you are a bride-to-be, you can tell us which stage of the wedding planning process you're in. I know many of us who join us are usually starting to plan, or they're almost even getting married. So we'd like to know where you are in your wedding planning process. This is a very interactive session. And as we go along, we'll be reading some of the chats, and I can see even some of you have started commenting. Happy to be here. Beauty by Mo, welcome Beauty by Mo, and everyone else who is joining us on Zoom and on YouTube. Feel free to introduce yourself on the chat section and just let us know. And even if you're not getting married, you're in the industry perhaps, or yes, just tell us what you'd want to pick up from this session today. Feel free to do so on the chat section. Let's make this as interactive as possible. All right, so to the business that has brought us here, makeup, picture perfect. That is the topic of today. Your wedding will be one of the most important days in your life. And this I'm speaking to the brides-to-be. There'll be a lot of photos taken professionally by the photographer that you hire, even by your family and friends. So you need to look back on those photos, knowing that you felt your absolute best. Professional makeup artists know everything that needs to be done to ensure that you'll be glowing. You'll be a glowing bride that you deserve to be. Professional makeup is entirely different to what many women do on a day-to-day basis. Like, for example, if you can just see my face, I did my own makeup, but you can see Ruthie's face. She's a professional makeup. We did the same things, but hers, because of her artistry and her technique, came out totally different. So professional makeup is entirely different because of the technique that goes behind it and the expertise. Makeup artists use top quality products, giving you a perfect coverage that will last you all day. So as a bride, this is essential if you're going to continue looking your best throughout your entire day. A professional makeup artist will know what is required to suit your wedding photography. She'll be the reason why you get your perfect picture. And because we are speaking about the perfect picture, we have decided to bring on board one of the most sought after makeup artists who's going to talk to us about everything bridal makeup. My name is Eunice Mwe. I'm the founder of Yulita Surprise, an events experience design and planning company based here in Nairobi. I feel honored to be moderating the panel today. Yulita Surprise creates experiences through surprises, just as the name suggests, and we specialize in alternative weddings. I'm a trained event planner. I have been trained by Samantha's Bridal. The academy is Wedding Members Business Academy, abbreviated as WMBA. I would now like to introduce our wonderful panel. The first and the foremost, the lady of the hour, Ruthie Kinuthia. Say a word of hello. Ruthie is inspired by the love of the beauty industry. Inspired by the love of the beauty industry, Makeup by Ruthie was founded by a Kenyan pro makeup artist. She is a model and former Miss Kenya 2008, Ruth Kinuthia. Ruthie has fast become one of the industry's top most sought after makeup artists for a wide variety of events, ranging from weddings, professional photo shoots, makeup trainings and workshops, editorials, commercial advertisements. I mean, the list goes on. So Ruthie, after 4 years of working as a self-taught freelance makeup artist, she finally fulfilled a lifelong dream, which was to attend makeup school at the prestigious Academy of Freelance Makeup in Soho, London, as well as the Glam Beauty Academy in Dubai, where she attained a professional certificate in freelance makeup. So, you know, when you go to Ruthie, you're in very good hands. Ruthie has received recognition as the leading makeup artist in the country. Most recently, she was awarded by the Kenyan Fashion Awards as the prestigious Makeup Artist of the Year 2016. This award is given to an outstanding Kenyan makeup artist who has made a significant impact within the Kenyan fashion industry. She has also received recognition and she has been ranked, top 5 on the list of Nairobi's top makeup artists by the People Daily, as well as featured by a number of independent sources, most notably the Business Daily Africa. She has also been featured on Classic 105 and Wedding Services Kenya. So she's an authority in the beauty industry. Ruthie is passionate about empowering women from all walks of life to look and feel their best every day. She does this by sharing weekly beauty tips and tricks on Facebook, on her Facebook page to help them along the way, as well as answering general questions related to makeup and beauty. She has over 70,000 people on Facebook, on her Facebook page. She has also launched Makeup by Ruthie professional makeup classes for aspiring artists and beauty lovers. So if you want to take your makeup skills to the next level and launch your career in makeup artistry, Ruthie is the person to look for. She dedicates her Sundays to teaching and mentoring the youth at her local church. This, in her words, is her way of serving and giving back to the community that has invested so much in her and given her support and opportunity to mentor and inspire young people and be a positive role model to the generation. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Ruthie to just say a few words before we proceed to Mumbi.
Thank you, Eunice. Good evening, everyone who's joined us, everyone who's watching. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be an amazing time discussing everything to do with bridal makeup, bridal trends. I'd like to recognize and appreciate Catherine, who's provided us with this wonderful platform, which has been so informative, that has been so educative. I join the webinar every Wednesday to just watch and learn. And also a big shout out to Mumbi, who was my former bride. And I'm very happy to see her today. It's been a while. So I'm looking forward to a very wonderful session this evening. And as you said, if you are a bride to be, or maybe a bridesmaid, or you're just a makeup enthusiast and you have questions that you want to ask, please drop them on the chat section. We'll be so happy to answer you. And we're looking forward to having a good time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruthie. I'd like to continue welcoming those who are joining us, and I'm seeing the chat box is firing up. So if you're joining us, feel free to introduce yourself on the chat box and just let us know what you'd like to learn or to pick up today if you're not getting married soon. And those who are getting married soon would like to know which stage of the wedding process you're in. Please feel free to introduce yourself on the chat box and even on YouTube comment section. It is at this point I'd like to introduce Mumbi Murimi. Mumbi is a former bride who got married in July of 2020, the last year during at the peak of the pandemic. She experienced firsthand makeup by Ruthie's expertise and is here to share experience working with a professional makeup artist who she entrusted with her big day. She'll be sharing why she chose to work with Ruthie. Welcome, please say a few words.
Hi to everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here and to see Ruthie, I think for the first time since the wedding, well, virtually still, but I'm really blown away. I don't think she even told me she has this rich profile. I mean, we talked briefly, but yeah, I'm like, what? She's so humble. But yes, it's a pleasure to be here and it's an honor, and looking forward to sharing my experiences, my beautiful experience of working with Ruthie. It was definitely out of the world. And to also encourage all the brides here, I hope you really hit her up. You'll really be in the best of hands, literally. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mumbi. At this point, I'd like to welcome Catherine Masitsa, Dr. Catherine Masitsa. Yes, Catherine is the CEO and founder of Samantha's Bridal, and it is always a privilege to have her here on board. And she really does not need an introduction. Catherine has also worked with Ruthie professionally for so many years. And I'd just like at this point to give her the stage to say a few words of welcome.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. The viewers, both on YouTube and the ones who joined us live on Zoom. We are happy to have you. And today we are saying the show must go on. And because, you know, brides must have not changed. That's the one thing that has not changed. Brides want to look good. And we are really happy to have Ruthie. We love working with Ruthie. She recently did my makeup. We had an amazing day together with Masharia at the Windsor for the launch of our show coming soon. Our TV show was amazing. And yes, I was a judge that year, Ruth. You became Mrs. Kenya, Miss Kenya. I was on the panel, yeah. So it's really good to have you, the former bride. Really good to have you, and all the brides joining us. Do not ever feel alone. Wednesdays, we're here live, ready to serve you. This is something that we'll be doing throughout the whole year. We come up with different topics. This is a place where you come, you listen to whatever else you can ask, any question you want to ask. And I am particularly looking really forward. As you can see, I did my own makeup and I know I look near like Ruthie. So welcome, and back to you, Eunice.
Yes, thank you so much. So I think at this point we begin the interview, and I'd like to begin from the beginning. Before we even delve deeper into our conversation, I think, Ruthie, it is important to start with the basics. And that will mean, because we're speaking about brides who are contracting you for their bridal makeup on the day of their wedding, would like to start with the basics rather. And that would be the first contact with the bride, or the consultation in a more formal term. So Ruthie, I'm curious, please take us through your consultation process. In instances where brides approach you, what is that process like?
All right, thank you, Eunice. So what happens is that, of course, as a bride, you're planning your big day. And one of the things that you want to consider, of course, is your makeup, because pictures are forever. You're going to be looking at those pictures for the rest of your life. You want to look good. So you contract a makeup artist. So usually in one of the first conversations you're going to have with a makeup artist is they're probably going to call you in for a consultation or a trial, which means probably it's your first face-to-face chat with the bride-to-be. And that's where you talk about the style of the wedding, what theme do you have, what is your personal style. So that's the place where you talk about your skincare regime, your skin type. Do you have any allergies to any makeup products? Are you a makeup lover, or you have never done makeup in your life? And I mean, you're getting married and you're thinking, you know, this is the first time I'm going to do makeup. I'm going to do it professionally. What should I expect? So that consultation process is usually very, very important. We usually schedule about 2 to 3 hours whenever I meet with the bride, and we literally just go through your plan. What's your plan for the wedding? Most brides come with pictures. They look at pictures either from my website, Instagram, or even Pinterest. They come with the pictures and they're like, I want this look. Maybe they want a more natural look, or some want a very glam look. And then after that, now we actually create that look that she's going to have on the big day. Because we understand brides want the benefit of knowing how they're going to look before the big day. That takes the edge off, that takes the pressure off. They don't have to guess about it. And for me, it's a very good platform to just get to know the bride one-on-one. So that when you come to her house on the morning of the wedding, you're not a stranger, you know? You've talked, you've walked her through the process, you've advised her about her skincare routine. You've talked, like you have like about maybe a month at least, to just walk her through it. So when you arrive, you're not a stranger, you know, because you're going to be in her space in the morning of the wedding. She wants someone familiar around her, someone she can feel safe with and comfortable with. So that is the process of the consultation, or what we call the makeup trial. That's it.
Okay. Mumbi, it is great that you're here to support Ruthie, and you went through the consultation process as she has just stated. So I'm curious to know how you heard about Ruthie. How did you meet? Was she a referral? Did someone refer her to you? What was the process? What was the first contact?
Ruth and I have a very interesting story, but how we really do. But how, yeah, I think I was just looking around on social media. I had, of course, friends refer people. I came across some, and I loved their work on social media. But you know that moment when you call up someone and maybe they don't sound warm enough, or they're very cut, somehow we weren't really connecting. And then I landed on Kambua's page, the gospel musician, and there was this very, very beautiful, stunning photo of her. And I just saw that Ruthie had done her makeup. And so I went to her page and I was blown away by her work. But the it moment came when I actually called and spoke to her. And because I think just before that, I had prayed. I'm a Christian, so I really wanted to pray about every single detail. But then I called her up and I'm like, hi, are you Ruth? And she's like, yes, yes. And then I told her that I was looking for someone to do my makeup. And she tells me I literally just got off my knees like right now, because she shared her fear that, you know, like the makeup business is very up close. Like you really have to be in someone's face. And we were 4 months into the pandemic. So understandably, she was also wondering, how do I figure this entire thing out? And she was praying and she had just gotten off her knees. I had just finished praying and bam. Okay, I hope I don't sound like I'm on turning point or something. But yeah, so we started talking and that's how it started. But her warmth and her like she's very genuine and she's very professional, but also extremely approachable. It was almost hard to believe she's this big brand and she's this approachable. Yeah, that's the long and short of it. It was very interesting. Yeah.
Oh, wow, Ruthie, that is raving review.
It's amazing. And one thing that Mumbi did not mention was, it's true, it was just when the pandemic had just started, I was very apprehensive about even taking work, because at that time there's not much information to go on. Now we have a lot of information, you know what precautions to take, you know what protective gear to wear, you know the transmission. I mean, we have a lot more information now than we did before. But the interesting thing is that even for the consultation, you know, we did not have a physical consultation. We had it online, and I had never done an online consultation before. So we just set up a Zoom meeting like this, and we just talked. That was actually our initial like face-to-face via the internet. And that's how we just had our trial online. And then the first time I physically met her was on the day of the wedding.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And she was fully dressed in a PPI suit. PPE. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't. Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll see that later, but that was quite interesting to learn. Yes. Ruthie, I just want to go forth and move a few steps forward. You have already met a bride, you have done the consultation, and you have come to an agreement. So you have reached an agreement and you now have a client. So I suppose the next steps would be to discuss the different types of the makeup looks, and probably look into some inspirational looks that the bride might have shared. You know, I know when someone gets engaged, the first thing they do probably is go on Pinterest. So I know that I also know that there are very many different types of makeup looks that target the bride, and but I believe there are a few popular ones that we can discuss. So I think you had shared a few makeup looks, and I'd like at this point to share my screen so that we can go through the few popular makeup looks as Ruth takes us through it. Are you able to see this? Where did it go? It was just here. It was just here. Just hold on a minute. One second, sorry. Yes. Resume share. I'm sorry, I'm not, the screen sharing has stopped as the prepared window is closed. Please forgive me, I'm just trying to share my screen. Okay. Yes. Ruthie, are you able to see from your end?
I can see, yes, I can see. So should I talk through
Yes.
the look?
Yes.
Okay.
So we are talking about the different or the popular bridal makeup looks. And you
Yes.
shared at least 5 popular makeup looks, and we'd just like to quickly go through them so that even as we proceed with the conversation, we have something in mind. We have a picture in mind. Yes.
All right. So this look is more for the bride who wants something in between. It's not too subtle. It's not too bold. It's just right there in between, you know. There's, you know, just flawless skin. And then there's a little pop of color on her eyeshadow, just very mildly, and a very kind of subtle lippy. So that's something that's normally just in the center. It's not a nude look per se for the naturalistas, and it's not way out there. It's just something at the center. Of course, the skin is flawless, flawless eyebrows. Most brides go for false lashes on the day of the wedding. If you're comfortable with that, that's fine. There are others who don't like to do that because they've never worn them before, which is fine. But that's basically that first look.
So Ruthie, if someone came to you and they liked this photo or this look, how would they describe it? What would they say they want?
They would want they would probably say this is not per se natural. They just say, I just want something in between. I want something in between. Yeah. But of course it will have to be full coverage. You know, the foundation, you can see her skin is flawless. So full coverage foundation, of course, is some highlight and contouring over there.
Yeah.
Just to give the face some dimension, some cheekbones, and then a bit of highlighter just to make the skin look really glowy, you know, and fresh. So yeah. And of course, they always describe the lip. Most brides will say, I want a red lip, or I want a dark purple lip, or I want a nude lip, or ombre. This is more of an ombre, as you can tell. It's like a brown ombre kind of lip. I know I'm using terms that are very technical. I will just try and just break it down for you. Ombre is just when the outline of the lip is darker than the center. So the center, you put a brighter color and then just draw a darker outline. That's basically what it means.
Okay, so let's move on to the next look. This is the same,
yeah, that's
right?
the same. That's the same.
This one.
Now, this is what you call the no makeup look, which has become very popular. You can see that it's very, very natural. The only thing that has the most definition is the eyes. And even the eyes have very earthy tones, like a dark brown or a black, just as in terms of the eyeliner. The skin is very fresh, very flawless. The foundation coverage is not heavy. It's quite light. And also the lippy is very, very flesh tone or nude. So there is a lipstick there, but it just looks like a skin color. So for most of the naturalistas who like a very, you know, most brides say, I want to look like myself on the day of the wedding. I want the groom to recognize me. So this is probably what we're going to go for if the person has never worn makeup before, or is just a very conservative person in terms of their makeup.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, so you mentioned also the suitability, someone who wants to look as natural as possible. Okay, let's move on to the next look.
Same thing as that. This is also a very nude, natural look. It's the same. Actually, it's interesting to tell because she's the same person in the first picture. It's just that this is a different look. You can tell the lipstick is just very brown, just looks like a skin color. And also the eyeshadow is more toned down.
Yes.
Of course, as a bride, there are features of your face that have to be defined on the wedding day because of the pictures. So some of the things that need to be defined, your eyebrows have to be defined or they'll disappear in the photos. You won't have eyebrows and you need eyebrows in the photos.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to define the eyes, define the cheekbones, and then of course highlight the lip.
Okay. Yeah. So this makeup, who is it suitable for?
So this can be for a bride or a bridesmaid.
Okay.
This can go either way. Yes, this can go either way.
Okay. And what kind of bride rather?
Oh, so this is for the naturalista bride. This is still the bride who wants to look completely natural. I don't want to look different. I want to look like myself, just a little bit more enhanced.
Okay. Okay, we go on.
So this is a bit more bold, as you can tell. The eyes are slightly smokier. That means we used a darker shadow on the eyelids and also a darker, it's more of a burgundy purple kind of lipstick. So this is perfect for, this is a bold bride who doesn't mind wearing makeup. She doesn't mind it. And most of the brides really steer away from bold makeup only because they feel like they look too different. And most people want to recognize themselves. However, let me say, if it is done well, you can still keep the essence of who you are and just look very enhanced and very polished.
Okay. So this is a bold makeup.
That is bold.
Okay.
Same. That's just a different angle. Yes.
Okay. This one.
Yes, and this is the classic red lip bride. This is just a classic kind of Victorian look where the bride just wants the focal part of her makeup to be her lips.
Okay.
So classic, the red lipstick is a classic look, especially for most brides because they're wearing white and it contrasts very well against the white. Also depends on your skin tone. There are different reds for different skin tones. If you're more fair skin, like our model is, you can wear more of a brighter shade of red. If you're more darker skin tone, you wear a darker shade of red. But there's a shade of red for every skin tone. I think every skin tone looks good in red, by the way. And you can tell it's matching her accessories, so it looks pretty good.
Yes. The next one, I love this one.
I know, I love it too. This is the Glam Bride. Now, this bride is not afraid of makeup. She wants to be the center of attention. This is her. And what can inform this look? Because you can tell the eye is very smooth. It has a lot of shimmer and glitter. Is probably for most weddings that are evening. I know right now there are no evening weddings, but before there would be evening weddings that go straight from the ceremony into like a dinner party. Yeah. So this looks very good at night because of the shimmer, the light bounces off the eyeshadow and it looks really good. Of course, the skin, full coverage foundation. Now, let me just say that when you go for a very bold eye, you tend to go for a lighter or a softer shade of lipstick so that the look balances out. So the eye makeup is not competing with the lips, you know? So the focal point is the eyes, definitely. The skin is gorgeous and a very nice toned down lipstick. That's also a bit glossy, as you can tell. And yeah, that's the look.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. This one.
So this is makeup for the dark-skinned beauty. Many dark-skinned ladies think that they cannot find either foundations for their shade or they cannot wear bold colors. I personally think bold colors look amazing on dark-skinned, dark-toned, dark-skinned ladies. And if you go to the next one, I think it shows a very nice close-up. Yes. Yeah, they look amazing in golds, bronzes. You can tell the lip is a bit pink and it contrasts beautifully. So that is the look mostly for dark-skinned beauties. The skin is very bronzed up. So we use a lot of what we call an illuminator just to get the skin really nice and sun-kissed. And yeah, that's the look.
Okay, so we've gone through the different makeup looks. Just allow me to quickly stop sharing my screen. Ladies, there you have it. Have you seen the wonderful work of Ruthie? Those were really, really good photos, Ruthie. So Ruthie, we have gone through the different types of makeup looks, and so how does selection of the makeup look take place? Do you normally settle for what the bride wants, or are there instances where you will recommend a certain look based on certain factors? And if so, what are these factors?
Okay, of course, when a bride comes, she has the picture of how she wants her wedding to be. She has a picture of how she wants to look on the big day. She's seen herself in her dress, her hair, her makeup. So chances are she'll come with an inspiration in terms of pictures. I want this. So of course, that's my priority. I want to translate that to her. Of course, I will advise, because sometimes maybe the picture they've chosen is maybe for a different face shape, the different face shapes, the different eye shapes. And maybe even the picture they've chosen is for someone Caucasian, and you're African. So we have to translate that look to you. You'll know that you won't look exactly like that, but we can bring it pretty close. So if I need to advise and say, okay, maybe your eye shape, you have a bit of a hooded eyelid, that might not work maybe for, say, a cut crease eye, So we'll still use the same shades, but let's just do it differently. Yeah. Yes. So we work with her until we get that look as close as we can get it, but tailor-made to her. We cannot lose the uniqueness of the bride, because she has her unique beauty. That's the beauty of it. So the idea is just to tailor-make it to her, keep her essence, her beauty, and still get it as close as to the inspiration as possible.
It says amazing faces, and I totally concur. So Ruthie, moving on to the next question. In the makeup industry, your face is a blank canvas, and it takes the skills of a talented makeup artist to transform that face into a masterpiece. However, I can imagine that there are certain things that should be done in order to ensure that the canvas is prepared for transformation. So in your opinion, how can a bride to be prepare their faces safely and effectively for makeup on their big days? Sometimes we can go all ham with the avocados and the eggs and the facials and whatnot. How can we prepare safely and effectively for our big day?
So generally, it's said that if you're going to do something new, like you've never done before, do it 6 months to the wedding. 6 months to the wedding, you have enough time to break out, peel, your complexion has come back, and 6 months to, like, the moment you find out you're getting married, you should continue. Either if you have not had a skincare routine before, which happens, you can start one, but you don't start it too heavy. If you're someone who has done facial peels before, for example, and you know how your skin reacts to it, and you know how much time you need to heal, then that's fine. But sometimes because of the excitement and you want to look perfect for the wedding, you find people doing, very major skin treatments a month to even a week too. Like facials should not be done. Facials should not be done like a couple of days to the wedding, at least 7 days before. So you should not mess with your face that week to the wedding.
7 days before, you said? Sorry, 7 days before?
7 days at least. That's the least amount of time you should do a facial.
Okay.
Because sometimes the skin reacts differently, and especially if it's your first time doing it, because there's some people who do it just for the first time, and they've never done it before. Yeah. But as soon as you realize you're getting married, you can still continue with your skincare routine, whether you've been cleansing or toning, moisturizing. Now you can do your serums, moisture increasing serums, all the rage, vitamin E, just to keep your skin very supple. If you do have problem skin, which most people have, some people have acne, very oily skin breakouts, then I would advise, if you can, see a dermatologist. Sometimes winging it by yourself can be very detrimental. It really can, because sometimes you can try something that doesn't work and makes it even worse. Or you can try more natural remedies. But the idea is just cleanse, tone, moisturize, keep your skin hydrated, drink a lot of water. Because, a bride, sometimes you're at a dress fitting, you're going to see the caterer, you're all over, and that can really deplete your moisture levels in your skin. So just drink a lot of water, avoid stress as much as possible, and your skin will look radiant.
Okay. So moving on to products, products matter, and good products matter most. In makeup, the products that a makeup artist uses are very important. And there are very many brands available, and each is preferred for a different reason. However, so what happens when a bride wishes to use her own products? Is this possible, first of all? And would it hinder your process and affect the final results in any way whatsoever?
I am so glad you brought that up, because sometimes that happens a lot, in the sense that the bride says, you know what, I have my own products. And these are the ones I use, these are the ones I trust. And I'm like, okay. Now, during the consultation, I will tell you, bring all your products, let me see them. Because I cannot rely on the word of the bride that these are very good products, because I haven't seen them. I don't know how long wearing they are. I don't know if it's a reputable brand. Maybe it works for them on a day-to-day basis, but you see, a wedding is not a day-to-day event. It's a 16-hour day at least for the bride, and she needs to look put together the whole time. Yeah. So when she comes to the consultation, I'll just say, bring your little makeup bag. Let's see what you have laid down. Then if it's satisfactory, I would be like, okay. If not, I'd be like, no, we are changing this. We are using waterproof eyeliner, using waterproof mascara. You change it up. And you tell them why. It's not that your products are bad, no. It's just because for this particular day, we need very long wearing products. You need products that sit well on the skin, that maybe mattify your skin a bit more, because you'll be dancing, you're all over really. And yeah, so that is actually the reason. You just review the product and then give them a go or not.
Okay. And also that's very important to know, because I really think that there's some brides listening in who may really want to use their products, and they were wondering how to go about that. So that's a fair point. That's a good point. But then let's move on to something more sensitive, and that is the sensitive skin and perhaps allergies. There are brides to be who may be listening in, and they have reservations to makeup due to sensitivities and certain allergies. However, even despite the allergies, despite the sensitivities, they still want to look good on their big day. So you, as a professional makeup artist, Ruthie, how do you deal with clients who care about things like parabens, cruelty-free brands, or natural cosmetics, and who have sensitive skin or perhaps even allergies?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, because now it's really a concern. There's so much counterfeit products out there, and it's a concern, because if you're going to let someone put products on your face, they better be good quality,
Yes.
And I've also had brides. I've actually had an instance of a bride who said she reacts with all types of makeup. I was going through brand to brand, like, do you react to this? She says, I react with all makeup. You have to use my own. So, and to the point that even I had to get she says, everything you will use is mine. Everything from the brushes to the sponges, everything. She was that sensitive. So that's definitely a concern. Also for people with very sensitive skin, we use what is called mineral makeup. There's mineral makeup, organic makeup. Okay. It may not have the same finish because it's very light. It may not have that packed on look, but it's very sheer, very natural, and at least they can have makeup. So there is mineral makeup. And also just as a, just as a professional courtesy, of course you want, as a makeup artist, and I'm sure when you're makeup artist who's watching, you want to stock your kit with the best. If you cannot, I say, if I cannot put it on my face, I'm not going to put it on anybody else's face. I have to give the same care, the same consideration and courtesy. So yes, I don't know. I believe Mumbi, I don't know, did you have problem skin? I'm not sure.
She actually had sensitive skin when we were talking. Yeah. She had actually Mumbi. You can tell us your experience, because I was just going to you. You were one of those people who had sensitive skin, but So how did that work between you and Ruthie? How did she make it work for you?
So I think, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I had two issues. One is I had never encountered makeup per se, other than when I was a bridesmaid at someone's wedding. So there was that, but I also tend to have very sensitive skin to this date. And I had to tell Ruth that. And thankfully, I think, yeah, I really just had to trust that she will use good products. And thankfully, even after the wedding, I didn't have any breakouts, but you need to let your makeup artist know that you do. Yeah.
Okay. So the key to sensitive skin is good products, if I'm not wrong, Ruthie. That's what you're echoing?
Definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now that we are at a stage where we are planning a wedding and we have chosen the look, we now need to do a trial. So let's talk about trials, makeup trials. Makeup trials gives a bride an opportunity to communicate exactly what type of makeup look they want for the wedding. And also the bride gets to see firsthand how a makeup artist works and also estimate how long the makeup look will take. You know, weddings time is very sensitive, so they need to estimate what time they will wake up and what time they'll be done with the makeup application process. So Ruth, when it comes to trials, is it a norm to do it before the big day? And so even what happens when a trial does not take place? Or I'm even curious to know what happens in situations where the brides are far, perhaps they are in diaspora, and the first time you're meeting them is on the day of the wedding. And also, does a makeup trial, does it carry additional cost, or is it inclusive in the initial quote? Ruthie, sorry.
Yeah. I have gotten to a point where I must do a trial for a bride before I book them. Because of course there are those one-offs that, for example, I had a bride coming from Rwanda and she was coming the day before the wedding. She was coming on a Friday, the wedding is on a Saturday. I only had a communication with her wedding planner, nobody else. So of course I got her number. She sent me her inspiration, what kind of look she wants. I'd never met her before. So actually the morning of, that's when we met, did the makeup. I thank God it worked beautifully. It worked wonderfully and she loved it. But those are just those one-off cases when they're far away. But as much as I can, I want to do a trial. Like I said, it builds that rapport. I get to know what works. Actually, for a trial, one of the key reasons we do it is that I will usually tell the bride to book the trial when she has like a long day. Maybe she's going to dress fit or see the caterer or, do an engagement shoot, all that. So that you can tell how the makeup wears on through the day. And then at the end of the day, you can give me feedback and tell me, no, my eyeliner ran, or my skin started breaking, or the foundation started setting in the creases of, my smile lines. That's the kind of feedback we need, so that we know we'll know now, okay, we need to alter this. We need to put maybe more of a mattifying foundation, or we need to do less makeup, or we need to do more, So that feedback is very important. That's one of the reasons. And also so that the bride can grow into having a full face. Because she can't just have a full face, bam, on the day of the wedding. She won't recognize herself. She's not comfortable in it. But if she's seen herself before and she's walked around, she knows how it feels, then that makes it so much easier. And then you asked about, does it carry an additional cost? Yes, it does. But we usually put it in the package of the bridal makeup. So it's part of the bridal makeup package. Yes.
Okay. So I want to move on to hair. because it's usually, hand makeup is usually like a one package or one deal sort of thing. And I'm just very curious to know, how does the hairstyle that the bride chooses, how does it affect the makeup? Which complements the other? Is it the makeup that complements the hairstyle or vice versa? And also, which one should be chosen first? Do I choose my makeup look first, or do I choose my hair first, or vice versa? I'm very curious to know that.
You know, it's interesting actually that you should say that, because what informs everything is probably the theme of the wedding. That informs everything. So once we have the theme, let's say they have a 50s theme, like a Great Gatsby, you know, kind of theme. That will inform the dress. That will inform the hair. You know, you have like more wavy hair. And then we have to tailor the look maybe to the 50s. That's it. Right? So usually I ask them, what is your theme? What is your color scheme? Those two usually inform how the makeup is going to look. If they're wearing very pastel colors and the theme is more very natural, then we'll tone down the makeup a little. But if they have a flair for color, you know, we can prop it up a bit more. But also the hair will help the makeup artist, because, for example, if the hair is all back, you know, sometimes most bridal hair is all back. And of course, now that will expose her cheekbones, and you'll see the full facial structure. So of course, that will tell us we need to really contour a bit more, we need to highlight the cheekbones. And sometimes the bride has maybe a bigger forehead, you know, sometimes, and they are very conscious of the forehead. So maybe they'll have the hairstylist maybe put a bang to hide that. If not, we'll have to try and contour also the forehead to kind of make it look smaller. So I think everything ties together from the theme. I think the theme number one usually tells us, the theme. And then also now, if there's the hair back, is the hair down? If the hair is more down and it covers most of her face, then we don't have to do too much contour. So everything kind of ties in all together. Like we have to consider everything.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. So you see, with wedding day makeup, there are three aspects. There's the bridal makeup, there's the bridesmaids makeup, there's also the mother's makeup, either the mother of the bride, mother of the groom, or even both of them. So even as we move on to bridesmaids, I'd like to invite any one of us in the chat section to just, if you have a question, just drop it in the chat section, and we'll answer it at the end of, or towards the end of the webinar. Ruthie, I'd like to move on to bridesmaids makeup, because it's just another important element of the wedding day makeup. In your professional life, you've probably encountered a lot of bridesmaids. And I think the first question would be, do you also do bridesmaids makeup on the day of the wedding, or do you only focus on the bride?
Of course, when the bride has booked, say, Makeup by Ruthie to do the wedding, we've discussed how many people are in the bridal party, for example. So she'll tell me, maybe I have 5 bridesmaids plus mom of bride who need to have their makeup done. So we will cover, usually I have a team of makeup artists with me, because we realize the morning of the wedding, time just flies by so fast. You wonder, it was 6, now it's 10, what happened? And everybody needs to get done. So once I know the number of ladies who need to get their makeup done, then I'm like, okay, I will come with 2 or 3 or 4 makeup artists. Come early enough. If we have time, for example, if the wedding is maybe an afternoon wedding, there's more time to work, so I can focus on the bride and I can do bridesmaids, that's fine. If we are very strapped for time and we have like maybe 10 bridesmaids to work on, chances are my team will work on the bridesmaids. I'll probably focus on the bride, mother of the bride, best maid, and as time allows, we move on. So everyone, I usually make sure that every bridesmaid or every person in the bridal party has specialized attention. Because sometimes working alone and you have a big bridal party, you'll have to rush through, which is usually not the best, you know? So yes, it really depends on the size of the bridal party and the time as well.
And even before we delve deeper into bridesmaid makeup and move on to mothers, I'd like to bring Mumbi back on because I think she was one of the brides who chose the natural look. Was Mumbi's look the natural look, Ruthie?
It was. She did have a darker lip, but it was more natural, and then with a more statement lip.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me just share my screen and we can go over. Yes, Mumbi is here. We can go over her photos and you can just see the transformation that happened. And husband, and I think they're just gotten married. But let's focus more on the face.
She looks stunning.
She did. Oh, this is the very first photo, and we also have another one that is. I see what you were talking about when you said the eyebrows. You have to put focus on the eyebrows, even for natural makeup. This is a close-up look. Ruth, if you can say one or two things about this this particular photo.
So you can tell, okay, let me just first, she just looks amazing. Let me tell you, her energy was just so great. Her personality is just bubbly, she's just energetic. She put everyone at ease on the day. So you can tell her hair is all back, yeah? All back. Yeah. So the very important thing is that when you're doing makeup for hair that's all back like that, is to make sure it's blended into the hairline really well.
Yeah.
So that they don't look like they're wearing a mask. You can't see that demarcation. Yeah. Of course, like I told you, you are the eyebrows. Now, this is the thing. In the picture, it looks really flawless, more natural, but in person, it's a bit heavy. And that's usually what I have to advise the bride and inform them. The makeup will look heavier in person than it does on the camera. So we have to go a little heavier, just for you to photograph this well.
Okay.
You know? So of course, her skin looks amazing. We went for a bolder lip. You can't quite see it, but it was like a burgundy kind of color. Just a nice blush highlight, like a goldy highlight on her cheekbones there. Okay. And of course, you put on a false pair of blushes, but a really natural falsies. And it was amazing. And you blended the makeup all the way down. You can't say, because sometimes you have to find out what kind of dress they're wearing. If they're wearing something off shoulder, you have to kind of bring it down and just make sure the chest area, the neck, and the face all looks the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is another photo of Mumbi in spectacles. And for those who are listening in and they don spectacles, it's a very interesting story behind this. And I'd like you to just keep watching. We are going to speak more about this photo and about the whole spectacle issue later on in our conversation. Okay, so Ruthie, we were speaking about bridesmaids and bridesmaids makeup. So bridesmaids usually have different preferences when it comes to makeup. Do you normally do one look for all bridesmaids rather? And what determines a bridesmaid's look? Is it still the same, the theme, or is it what the bride wants, or is their personality that determines? What determines a bridesmaid's look? And is it one for all, or, a different look for each bridesmaid?
Now, every bridal party has such a unique dynamic. I've seen that. Sometimes you find a bridal party where the bride is like, no, I want everyone to have this look. And the bride calls the shots, right? And then you find a bride who's like, you know what, give them whatever they want. It's fine. If this one wants a red lip, this one wants pink, this one wants purple, just do whatever they want. is fine. There's that as well. But also there's now from my side, which is a professional side, I would look, if the bride has a very natural nude look, I would not make the bridesmaids makeup too bold, because there has to be like a uniformity, a harmony between the looks, right? So if the bride's makeup is more natural, I'll keep I'll keep the bridesmaids makeup also a little bit natural as well. So there's harmony in the looks, as well as the color scheme. You have to look at the color scheme. Are they wearing pastels? Are they wearing burgundies, greens, purples? That also informs the color choices and the intensity of the look. So you have to look at the color scheme, listen to the bride. The bride is like, give them whatever they want. You do that. If they have, okay, there are some bridesmaids who are very particular. They want a certain type of look, and we respect that. We'll do that as well. As long as everyone looks fabulous. We're good.
I believe also, speaking of bridesmaids, I believe that there are very many different kinds of bridesmaids when it comes to makeup. And over the years, you've encountered a lot of them, and I think you can be able to tell this kind of bridesmaid from the other. And so please just tell us quickly the different types of bridesmaids when it comes to makeup, and so that we just get to understand the intensity of your work on the day of the wedding. Yes.
When it comes to bridal makeup and bridesmaids makeup, they are usually kind of the same in terms of the quality of products you're going to use, how long wearing they are, how waterproof they are, how non-transfer they are, because they're going to be in the lineup together. They're going to be everywhere together, in the church, in the reception. Yeah. What differs is the style, It's a style that will differ, probably. Because bridal makeup, the style could be different in terms of the colors they want. For example, you can't put purple eyeshadow on a bride unless it's, more of an unconventional bride, or green eyeshadow. But you can actually do that for a bridesmaid if they're wearing that, and make it look really classy, and it can look really good if it complements their colors.
Yeah.
So yes, so there's usually not too much of a difference. It's the style and the color choices is what distinguishes the bride and the bridesmaids.
Okay, and for those bridesmaids perhaps who prefer to do their own makeup, you see, the pandemic has brought about many things, and maybe one of them is safety concerns. So perhaps there are some bridesmaids who prefer to do their own makeup, or even due to personal reasons, perhaps. I'm just curious, when you are contracted to do the wedding and you encounter such a bridesmaid, are there services at Makeup by Ruthie that caters for this, such as training? Because, everyone has to look really good on this day.
Yeah, and I've seen that. That's such a relevant question, because I've seen that, especially during this time. There are people who are, and very understandably, very cautious because of the kind of contact you will have with your makeup artist. It's very close contact, and they're probably just not comfortable at this time, and during this season. So I've encountered that. Some I have given makeup lessons. You can even have virtual makeup lessons. I tell you, okay, bring your products together and let's go step by step. So I've actually done one-on-one makeup lessons where I can advise. So of course you tell me, I'm wearing this, my hair is gonna be like this is the color scheme, what do I do? So I tell you, okay, let's do your foundation. This is how you're going to do it. This is how you're going to choose the right shade in case they even had the wrong shade. This is how you're going to do your eyebrows, your eyeliner. So we actually do that during the lesson. It can be a one-on-one lesson, very social distanced. I've done that. They're probably at the end of the room and I'm at the other end. And I have my mask. I always have my mask, by the way, and a face shield. And the reason I do, and gloves, surgical gloves, and I do that for my protection, yes, but also just to make the client feel comfortable that I'm actually considering their well-being.
Yes.
So I also tell them, try the look a couple of days to the wedding. So don't try it on the morning of the wedding and you've never practiced before. Please practice 2-3 times so you know that you have the hang of it, so that on the D-Day you're good to go.
Okay.
Yes.
And for those weddings that have big bridal parties, say 8, 10, whatever number, do you please share some tips, because for weddings time is very sensitive, and when you have a big bridal party, perhaps there are so many moving parts. So for a bride who is planning a wedding and they have a big bridal party, what are some of the tips you would give them?
So the biggest bridal party I've ever had, let me give you a small story. This was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
We were 14 bridesmaids.
14?
5 junior maids, and I say junior maids, I mean teenagers, 13 thereabouts.
Yeah.
So that's already what? 14 plus 5, that's 19 already.
Yes, 19.
And then we had like another 5 little girls. So it's like 24.
Yeah.
Like literally, plus mom of the bride was 25.
Yes.
So literally, the entire party plus the grooms were 50 people.
Yeah.
That was interesting. So with these 14 bridesmaids, let me tell you, first thing is that, okay, we were very close to the location. It was an out-of-town wedding. Yeah. So we were actually in the same hotel as the bridal party, which is good. Mm-hmm. So one of the tips I'm like, for the bride, please make sure all your maids are together. Because if they're scattered and they're coming at different times, they might run late on the morning of the wedding, and we'll really have to rush to make sure everything is done. So if you can have them all at a central place at the same time, that would be good. And then for us as makeup artists, that we started that makeup at 3 in the morning.
3?
Because the wedding, yes, 3 in the morning, because the wedding was at 9. That doesn't even give us much time. They're 14 and they still have to have their hair done. And they still have to dress,
Yeah.
Started at 3. Of course, for me, I had to have a team of makeup artists. I can't just come alone. That's not a job you go and do alone. You have to have at least 4 or 5. Yes. Makeup artists, make sure you know where you have to set up. So in the morning, you're just good to go. You're good to go. So tips to big bridal parties, make sure you're in the same location at the same time. And then there's a running order. After this one is getting done. After this one is getting done. So that there's an easy flow of people. Okay. And then, that's basically it. And you just make sure we keep time. Time is of the essence. That's it. Yeah.
And have you encountered situations where you went to a wedding and then you encountered new people that needed to have their makeup done and it was not planned?
Yes. And that happens all the time. You would think by now we would be used to it, but we are not. Because sometimes you budget for the bride's bridal party only. That's it. I mean, that's a quote you've given. That's what you're expecting. Yeah. Come the morning of this, new people, there's an auntie, there are friends of the bride who come, and some just expect to have their makeup done because they think that it's been covered, like it's all inclusive. Yes. So sometimes we really have to talk to the bride and tell them, if there are additional people, this is how much it's going to be per extra, And it's a sensitive conversation to have. And I would not want to be in a situation where you turn away anyone. Yes. And especially the older women, like the friends of the mom of the bride. It's very hard to tell them no. I can't tell them no. I don't know how to do that. So sometimes you cater for that. And then we would have a conversation with the bride later and say, okay, these are how many extras we did. And just, and of course you have to be understanding about it, but also you have to be strict about it because it can get out of hand sometimes. So you're always prepared for that scenario. Definitely.
Okay. Yes. Okay. And even as we move on to the mothers, I'd just like to still echo, if anyone has a question for Ruthie, please feel free to leave your question on the chat box here and even on the comment section on Facebook. On YouTube. Ruthie, we want to talk now about mothers. because for mothers, it's also their day to shine. It's their day to shine, really. And I just want to know, for mother of the bride, mother of the groom, the makeup, is it any different from the other makeups? And how so? How is it different? And yes, let's just talk about mother's makeup.
It is slightly different because when you're dealing with a more mature woman, you're talking about the skin is like more mature skin, more aging skin. So I mean, that is what informs the makeup look. If the skin is more aging, as someone gets older, the skin dries out a little bit more. So the skin is usually a bit more dry and more wrinkled than, just a younger person. So that's what we need to put into consideration. So when you're dealing with mom of bride, first you take care of the skin in terms of hydrating. So on a mom of bride, I will not use mattifying products. Mattifying products that absorb all the moisture from the skin. I will not do that because that will deepen the wrinkles, the smile lines, and the makeup products will set in those areas. So the idea is just to hydrate. If you're going to use a hydrating moisturizer, just pump as much moisture as you can into the skin. And then the products you can use can have a slightly more mattifying effect because you already worked on the skin. You can still use long wearing products, is fine. In this culture, moms of the bride are very conservative. So you can't go all out. You have to tone it down. Mm-hmm. So most of them just want eyebrows, eyeliner, lipstick, and a bit of foundation. That's it. For the more conservative mom. But of course, if you find the ones who go, all out, yeah, but you have to tailor make the look to her particular features, and that is age appropriate. Okay. It has to be age appropriate, yeah, and it has to fit her style. So that's what we normally look at, even in terms of the color choices. Most like very maroon, reds, burgundy lippies, a lot of gold eyeshadows, Coverage foundation has to be good, of course. You have to, of course, consider the wrinkling, under eye area, make sure the coverage is good. But by and large, that's a makeup that will stay put the whole day. That's it.
Okay. So earlier on, we spoke about the different makeup looks for the bride. So we mentioned the naturalista, the bold, the classic red lip. I mean, and we also spoke about the suitability of these makeup looks for the different brides. So I'm curious, when it comes to mothers, are there specific looks for mothers? And if so, what are their suitability? So I'm just curious to know the different looks specific to mothers and their suitability.
So for the moms, it ranges because, they can wear different things. Maybe one can wear African, and when one wears more of an African outfit, you can go a little bit bold on the colors. Some wear the more English type, hats, the round hat, the nice suit. So you just have to tailor it depending on what they're going to be wearing. Yes. Of course, keeping their personal style. If they tell you, I don't wear makeup, and you have to actually fight, to do their makeup, you keep it very subtle. If they're ones who love makeup, go for it. As long as they're comfortable, they look good, it looks good with their outfit, it matches, it's age appropriate, it's classy, then it's a wide scope. You can go pretty wide with that.
Okay. I think there's a photo that you shared of a mother's look. We just want to go quickly over it and maybe say one or two things about it.
Yeah, so you see for her, it's more like a West African inspired outfit. Mm-hmm. The headgear, the gele, and the outfit. So you see her colors are very bold. You see that just of the outfit itself. And this is a lady who doesn't mind makeup. She doesn't mind it. So you see even her eyes are a bit smoky. She has false lashes on, and her lip is bold, and the look ties in completely even with her outfit. So this is a mom of the bride who does not mind going a little bit bold with her makeup.
Okay. And for mothers, is it the same case as the brides and the bridesmaids when it comes to face prep? How do they prepare their faces for the big day?
The interesting thing is that majority of mothers of the bride already have a skincare routine going. They usually have a skincare routine going already, because you will concur with me. The older you get, the more skincare direction you go into. Now you just think about taking care of your skin. You're not thinking about packing on too much makeup. You just want to take care of your skin. So most of them have a very good skincare routine there. But of course, for them, just hydrating, like I said, because the skin tends to dry out as you get older and wrinkle. So you just need to hydrate. So for them, it's more moisturizing, hydrating, maybe using serums that are more moisture infusing. They still do their, maybe there's some who do their, what do you call, exfoliating, maybe once a week, they exfoliate. And then they drink a lot of water. So yes, just basic skincare. For them, they don't have to do too much, as long as they have a proper skincare routine in place already.
Okay. So even as we are continuing this conversation, we are almost winding up. We wanted to speak on the different aspects of the wedding day. So we have touched on the bride's makeup and the different looks. We have touched on the bridesmaids. We have also spoken about the mother's makeup, their face prep, and the different kind of looks. But we cannot conclude this conversation without speaking about the pandemic. We know the pandemic has brought about new things, and the biggest concern is safety, especially for the makeup industry, because it's a very personal industry. It's an industry that requires a lot of very close contact, because literally they are on your face. So we cannot conclude this conversation without talking about the pandemic and how it has affected the makeup industry. So Ruthie, I'd like to know, how has this pandemic affected makeup by Ruthie, in terms of what is it that you cannot do anymore that you used to do, and what is it that you are still doing but you're doing so differently?
Oh wow, let's start even with our dress code right now. How we dress is so different. Remember when I was doing Mumbi's makeup?
Yes.
Like I told you, the pandemic was just fresh. We didn't even know what was going on. Trying to get as much information as we can. And for me, I was researching a lot, because I was looking at countries that had gotten into the pandemic before us. Countries like China, Japan, States. I mean, that's what I was benchmarking against. Like, what are these makeup professionals doing? Are they still working? And if they're working, how are they protecting themselves? So I got to a point, I even got a PPE suit. That is so interesting. I got a PPE suit just to protect myself, to protect my
client. Just 1 minute. 1 minute, Ruthie. Sorry to cut you short. I just want to pull it up because it's very interesting.
To verify that I actually would wear PPE suit to a job. Yes.
Ruthie, I can imagine if you went to people's homes dressed like this.
I remember the conversation I had with Mumbi. I had to warn her and tell her I am going to come dressed in a PPE suit. Actually, I was even looking for a black one. I think a black one would be less intimidating than a white one.
Yeah.
But I told her I am going to come dressed in a PPE suit. Please tell everyone that's gonna be there not to be alarmed. This is just the uniform. That's clear. I'm wearing to deliver the service so that they don't get alarmed. But that's what we did. Now I've changed it. Now I don't wear full PPE. I still wear overalls. At least now I wear more of the face shield that's clearer. It was very hard working in those goggles because you can't see very well.
Okay.
But of course, you still have the mask, now even a double mask, and now a clear face shield that you can work with. Of course, surgical gloves. So that's what we are doing now that we never used to do. and we sanitize everything. We actually have like alcohol, you know, the rubbing alcohol in our kit, so that you sanitize everything. And when we are working, for example, when you go to a bride's house, I remember I even told Mumbi this. I was so I was a bit strict. I was like, we can't be too many people in a room. So I just want the makeup artist and the person who's being done for makeup. We can't have a crowd in the room. Yeah.
Okay.
Or we work maybe on a balcony or outside, somewhere where there's free flow of air.
Yeah.
And fresh air. Yeah. So those are some of the changes we've had to make. It's a bit hard to enforce because, you know, for a wedding in the morning, there's so much activity around the bride. So it's a bit hard to enforce it. But, you know, Mombi was so lovely. She really helped. She was like, no, not more than 3 people in the room at a time. So that was lovely. So even now, like for example, if we're doing bridesmaids, we carry a different brush set for everyone. So when I use these brushes on this person, I will not use them on this person. Like you label them. When you're done, you put them in like a Ziploc bag.
Yes.
Because that will be sanitized later, and then we move on like that. So those are some of the practices we've had to put in place.
Interesting. And speaking of Mombi, I'd like to bring Mombi back because when we spoke, she mentioned that one of her biggest concern was safety, understandably. Because, you know, her wedding was in July 2020. We were in a pandemic. We are still in a pandemic. The first priority when it comes to makeup is safety. How safe is the makeup artist? How safe am I? So Mombi's first priority, just as everyone else, was safety. Mombi, I'd like to ask you, how did Ruthie address this concern, and did she ensure your safety and hers too? I've heard she has said that she did, but did she?
Yes, I'd like to confirm that she did. First, like she mentioned, is we didn't have an in-person consultation, again, because this was a very fresh season. The lockdowns were fresh. Everybody was apprehensive, and I really appreciated that, because then the point was encouraging everybody to just stay indoors unless you really have to come out. But on the day of the wedding, in comes this lady fully. I mean, she had told me she'd really come like armed to the tooth, but I don't think I had thought about it. Yeah, and then it was that time when there was a lot of buzz around these people who are wearing PPEs. Maybe they've come to a home where there's an infected person. Yeah, like she was so prepared. Yeah, it was really, yeah, she really addressed those concerns and then some. Like that's yeah, so they were really, really addressed, again with the rooms, and if people came crowding into the room, she'd really like tell me, we need to be like a bit spaced. So yeah, I really liked that, because even if she's up to my face, she's all shielded up. Yeah, I really had no issues with that at all. Yeah.
It's just like our Minister of Health says, safety starts with us. So I think it's up to us to, you know, take those steps. If people are coming into the room, you have to tell them that you guys, you know, we have to practice social distancing and so on and so forth. Safety starts with us. So Ruthie, I'd like to go back to you and just ask, because we're speaking about safety measures, brides today, they wear masks, you know, things that we were not wearing a year ago. And you want to do makeup that will not transfer. It will not transfer to the mask. So one of the concerns is, how do you then do makeup that lasts long, despite wearing a mask on and off throughout the day? Which products do you use, and which techniques do you use to ensure that it does not transfer and you do not end up leaving your face on the mask?
Yes, when it comes to non-transfer makeup,
Yeah.
good quality product is everything. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's everything. If you something low quality and you start to melt, it will transfer and it will leave a demarcation on your face. Actually, it will draw a line exactly where the mask is. So we keep that in mind. Keeping that in mind, we've taken the makeup to be more matte, especially with the lipsticks.
Yeah.
Because if it's matte, it won't transfer as much as a glossy lip or a glossy lipsticks. We do that. And I also saw something very interesting. There's something called it's like a mouth guard or a lipstick guard you put. It's like something little plastic you put and then you put your mask over so that it doesn't touch your lips.
Oh, I think I saw it
I
too.
thought that was brilliant. Yes.
Yeah.
So that
I
when
saw
you remove it, your lipstick is still on.
Yeah.
Yes. But by and large, I mean, I haven't had any complaints in regards to, oh, I wore my mask and my makeup vanished. No, it will always stay put. If they sweat a little, all they need to do is just dab the sweat off, but it will stay. Now, of course, it will stain the mask a little bit. There's no 100% transfer-proof makeup. Doesn't exist yet. So it will transfer just a little bit. It will stain the mask a little bit, but it will not make an overall difference in regards to how your makeup looks. Yes.
So when it comes to products and someone is looking on the lookout or is shopping for a makeup artist, so you want to shop for someone who uses, say, a primer, or which are these products that perhaps assist in the longevity of the makeup?
Of course, like you mentioned, the primer is very important. For those who don't know what a primer is, it's just it's a makeup product that you wear as the base upon which all your makeup will go on.
Yeah.
And the purpose of the primer is that it holds on to the makeup that you're going to put. It acts like a glue, an adhesive. It just holds on to all your makeup. If you're someone even who has large pores, there are ladies who have larger pores, maybe they have oily skin, the primer settles into the pores and makes them less visible. So a primer is very important to have. And then there are different types of primer. Of course, for a wedding, we choose a mattifying primer for the bride and the maids. Mattifying just means it will absorb all the excess moisture, especially for ladies who get oily around the T-zone. That's the forehead, the nose, around the mouth. So that's where you really focus that primer to make sure they don't get sweaty around that area. So you use a mattifying primer. Products that have the name long wearing, super stay, those are good to use. Pro long wear. They may not be ideal for everyday use, but for a wedding, they are perfect because they will make sure that makeup stays on. Some say 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours. That's important. Even lippies that say 48 hours, super stay, whatever, or long wearing, that we use, to make sure that it stays on all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, we are at the last leg of this session. And I'd just like to bring back Mumbi. And Mumbi, we've heard so much about Ruthie. And I suppose the brides to be who are here, who have just found their makeup artist. You've given so much positive raving reviews. And as someone who has also interacted with Ruthie, I can attest to these reviews. So I'd just like to know, Mumbi, what would you like to, we would like to, use your experience with Ruthie to sort of prepare people or brides to be, or not to expect, even when they interact with her. So how was it working with her? How was your experience from the contact up until your wedding day? And even after your wedding day, after she had done the makeup, did she give you after sales, so to speak, like tips for makeup removal and aftercare? How was your experience working with Ruthie from beginning to end? We just sort of want to prepare people who have heard about her and have said, yes, they're going to work with her.
Thank you. First of all, I think I'll start by saying, before I speak, this is not a sponsored review. Um, yeah, it's not sponsored. She doesn't even know what I'm about to say, but seriously though, with Ruthie, what you see is what you get. Her work is what you'll get. Her professionalism, I think we've all had her resume. That's exactly what you get. I think three things I'd say really stood out for me when interacting with Ruthie. Number one is her professionalism. She said she'd be there, I think it was 7 a.m. and she was there like, I think 15 minutes to the schedule that we had agreed to. I think I was really just having breakfast, and then I was told you're already at the door, and I was like, yeah. So that, like how she does the makeup. So when she was applying my makeup, and for my mom and my sister, because I didn't have bridesmaids and all, she'd really ask you almost at every stage of the makeup application, are you happy with how this is turning out? Is there something you want me to tone down? Just so you have the look that you're really comfortable with. Number three, okay, mixed up the numbers, but that she's very, very friendly. I think on the wedding day, there are a lot of nerves. You're anxious, you're nervous. So she did this small talk, which makes you forget it's your wedding. And it was really just a very smooth process. So for all the brides to be who are here, or some of us who've already gotten married and still want to look good, please look no further. She's everything they say she is and more. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Oh my God, am I going to cry? She's really good. She's very good. Yeah.
There's a photo that you pulled up earlier, you in spectacles, and there was a story behind that. You see, makeup enhances your features, and one of those features that it enhances are the eyes. You see, you wear false lashes, you do this mascara, you do the eyeshadows and whatnot. So the eyes and makeup really enhance your eyes. And so naturally, as a bride who wears spectacles, you'd want to avoid wearing spectacles and switch to contact lenses for your big day. Mombi, I know you have a story behind this, and I also want you to advise some of the brides to be who wear spectacles, and so that they can learn from your experience, really.
So the mistake I made, okay, first of all, glasses aren't bad, but like you've said, on the day of your wedding, you don't want to have glasses. And then Kwanza, in my case, it was glasses and then a mask and then the hair. It was a lot. So what I'd advise the brides, especially if you're now opting to go into the contact lenses, please start practicing like weeks ahead, because I got them and I was like, okay, I'm sure I'll figure this out at some point. But then I had long nails and I'm not used to having long nails, and then it complicated the whole process. So I eventually had to wear my glasses. So yeah, start practicing contact lens wearing like weeks ahead, maybe months if possible. Yeah, but thankfully Ruthie really still managed to make me look good even with the glasses. Yeah.
Okay. Ruthie, so there's cases where you as a makeup artist, you have gone all out, you have done your best, but then as fate would have it, you just get, for lack of a better word, let me just say, good makeup, bad photography. So your work is not really translated to the photos. In the future, in the next couple of weeks, I believe in the next month, we're going to be having a photographer coming on board, and we are going to just talk to him about the correlation between photography and makeup, because we're talking about picture perfect, and we need to translate the good work that you have done, the masterpiece that you have created, into photography. So maybe quickly you can just speak on photography when it comes to makeup, and you can share a few tips for the bride-to-be who are listening in and who are probably thinking about photography. What are some of the things you can say in regards to photography and makeup?
A good photographer will make everyone look good. That's just number one. If a photographer is good, everyone will look good. I mean, everything from the dresses to the venue to, capturing the moments, to the hair, to the makeup, everything just comes together. So it's so important to get a good photographer. And also for the makeup artist, you have to understand lighting, effects of lighting on makeup. So you don't leave everything to the photographer, because you can only edit so much, and I know photographers appreciate a good makeup artist because they don't have to edit as much, because you can edit and make the person look plastic at the end of the day because you've had to correct so much. So for me as a makeup artist, I just have to make sure I understand lighting, even in regards to understanding the venue. Is it a garden wedding? Is it an indoor wedding? That already affects that. Are they having their photo shoot inside a venue, or is it outside? Is the sun be on her forehead? You have to know that as well. So we understand light. You have to understand light. When we're doing the makeup, we try as much as possible to have it in natural light, as much as you can mimic it, or sometimes you carry our ring lights or whatever, to just mimic natural light, so that when she's inside, she doesn't look a certain way, and then when she goes out, she looks totally different, because that happens as well. So just understanding effects of lighting on makeup, and also just making sure you understand the venue where they're going to be. If they're going to be probably outdoors, you know that the chances of her sweating is more, so you have to use more mattifying products. If they're inside like a hotel, there's more AC, there's not too much touch-ups that are going to happen. So just understanding those little things really helps to craft that perfect makeup look.
Okay. I want to finish with Mumbi. You have gone through the process, you have gone through the selection process, the consultation, you've had your wedding, and you've had your beautiful makeup done. I also just want to ask you if you could share maybe a tip or two rather, for the bride-to-be who are listening in. What is it that you can tell them that they should consider when they're shopping for a makeup artist? And then also, when they get the makeup artist on the day of the wedding, what is it you can also share that they can apply, so that they can reap the full benefits of that makeup artist and the artistry behind it?
Thanks, Eunice. I think the first thing is, as a bride-to-be, everybody wants to recommend their own makeup artist. So don't go blindly with people because they did so-and-so's wedding. Yes, take them in, but interact with every makeup artist. Call them up, ask them how they got into the career in the first place. Just have a conversation with them to also see whether you vibe. I think for me that's very important, because you don't want a very tense and uptight person doing your makeup in an already tense time. Also, look through their photos, because I think there are makeup artists who specialize in very dramatic makeup, and there are some who, like Ruth, can balance out both. Yeah, I think those would be the two maybe giveaways when you're looking for a makeup artist. Oh, and pray, please, my sister, pray. Oh, pray. God will connect you to the right makeup artist. And then on the day of the wedding, what do you do to get the best? Number one, relax. Once you've already chosen the makeup artist, just let them do your job. Their job. Of course, you know what you want, but don't micromanage them. Trust the process. Trust that they know what they are doing. And number two, maybe not for you, sana sana, it can also be for them. Ask the photographers to also take close-up photos, just so you can have them as well, but also to help the makeup artist so that they can also grow their catalog, so to speak. Yeah, and then also be very open with your makeup artist. If there's anything about you that you think will affect how they work, like for me, it was about my skin. Let them know if you're a makeup person. I was the classic tomboy. I go by Vaseline and some lip balm. So let them know about that. Yeah, and be friends with them. Be happy. It's a beautiful day. Don't let, yeah, it's really a beautiful day. You're very beautiful. The makeup artist is there to just enhance that beauty. So don't sweat the small stuff. Let them do their job and enjoy the day. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mumbi. That was quite insightful. I'd like to ask Ruthie the very last question. It's a very hot one because sometimes we plan, and then the makeup artist does not show up or emergencies happen. But before you answer that, Ruth, I'd just like to go to the chat section and just recognize a few comments because you have been very gracious. The attendees have been very gracious. You had my plea and you took the time to write something on the chat box. So I'd just like to give a few shout outs. To Janet Ayara, I just joined the team as a contributing writer for Samantha's Bridal. I'm a makeup and fashion enthusiast, and it's such a delight to be part of this meeting. Another attendee says, wow, what a resume. Ruthie, what a resume. Happy to learn all about photo-friendly makeup. Wow, Ruthie looks glam and camera-friendly. Yes, another attendee says, hi, my name is Lynette Mutinda. I cannot wait to learn more about makeup from the professional. I hope you've learned a thing or two, Lynette. If you have, please just give us a thumbs up or a comment. Maureen says, Ruthie, you look absolutely gorgeous, and I must concur, you look absolutely gorgeous. Elizabeth says, very good conversation. Kobe gives us a clap there. Someone else, I can't see the name, he says, amazing faces. Yes, I think it was in reference to the portfolio. Yes, Maureen says, wow, great job. I love all the looks. Yes, it was in reference to the portfolio. Perfect and flawless makeup. Let me see. Yeah. There's also a question that came in from Daisy Mothara. As I conclude with my last question, I'd like you to answer this question first. So Daisy Muthari asks, how much should a bride budget for makeup? And what about mothers who are in menopause? They sweat a lot. And I know that they're very conscious about this.
Okay, thank you for your question, Daisy. So let me start with the first part about the budgeting. Okay. It depends on your budget. Makeup can range anything between okay, let me say 7,000 to like 20,000. So depending on where your budget is, of course, there are some who would just charge only for the big day, and then maybe charge you separately for the trial. There are artists who don't do trials either, so you may pay less, but I feel like it's a bit of a gamble not to do a trial. So anything between 7,000 to like 20,000 thereabouts should be okay, depending on your budget, anywhere that could fit. There's some who also put in more services in there. For example, they'll do your trial, maybe do makeup for your engagement shoot and the big day. So they come in packages in terms of budget. Okay, so in terms of, women in menopause, I know that they sweat a lot. So what we do is that as much as you don't want to use too much mattifying product, use a lot of mattifying primer around where they sweat. They usually sweat around this area, forehead, So that's why you try and pack on as much mattifier as possible. Try and leave out the under eye area, the cheekbone area, the outer part of the face leave. It's the inner part that normally sweats a lot. And then also you don't put on too much product because they'll sweat even more, and put on good powder, even translucent powder, that will just absorb all the excess moisture. Of course, you can't 100% keep them from sweating. So what I normally advise is that they can just have a serviette. Do I have one? A serviette. So when they dab, they just dab and lift. You have to teach them how to dab. Otherwise, they'll wipe off everything. So just dab and lift, dab and lift, dab and lift, dab and lift. Yeah.
Okay.
So that it will come away with the makeup. It will just come away with the sweat, not the makeup.
Okay. I hope that has answered your question, Daisy. And we are also live on YouTube. So I'd like to recognize some few comments that we have on YouTube. And Jen Kamwiri says, very good advice from Mumbi. So on Facebook, we have Rachel Berry. She says, I'm here, but I'm not engaged or having a boyfriend, but I just want to learn. Thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us. Maria Novura, who's been a very good supporter of Wedding Wednesdays, she says, hey, Ruthie, good work. I really love the natural look. In your experience, what kind of brides go for the natural look versus the red lip? Another question from Marion, she says, good advice about starting a new skin regimen 6 months to the wedding. I think this means makeup artists are just as important as a decorator. What do you think?
That is very true. I agree. Makeup artist is just as important as the decorator. It's very true. I agree that. So the question Marion asked, please repeat it for me.
So Marion asks, she has two questions. The first one is, in your experience, what kind of brides go for the natural look versus the red lip? And the second question is, I think you've answered this. Makeup artist is just as important as a decorator.
Yeah. Okay, the natural look versus the red lip. So the bride who goes for the natural look are probably very conservative, and most of the natural nude looks I've done is maybe if they are subscribed to a certain like denomination, for example, SDAs, very natural. They're not even supposed to be looking like they're wearing makeup at all. So when you're doing it, you have to go really, really light-handed. And the idea about natural makeup is not no makeup at all. Let me just correct that. The people who are like, I just want natural makeup. You think the makeup artist won't put anything on your face. We will put makeup. It's just that it's going to be so earth tone or skin or flesh tone that it looks natural. But it's not the absence of makeup. Huh? Natural makeup is not the absence of makeup. The people are like, I just want a little natural. We put makeup on. And we really mimic it as close to the skin tone as possible. So those are the ones who like very natural makeup or who've never worn makeup before. Now, the red lip one does not mind a pop of color. That's your bride who does not mind standing out. She doesn't mind being the focus of attention. She doesn't mind something that will draw the attention to her. So if the face is very natural and then you have a very popping red lip, classic. And yeah, that's the kind of client who wants that.
Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our interview, and I'd just like to ask Ruthie one final question. Even as you prepare, Ruthie, Mumbi, and Catherine prepare for the closing remarks, I'd like to ask Ruthie a very important question that is naturally in the mind of many people, and in my mind, because, you know, I'm a wedding planner. So what happens, or what will happen if you're sick, or if you have an emergency on the day of the wedding, and you can't show up for one reason or the other? Do you have a plan in place? And if you're unable to make it, do you have a plan in place? And would you pick another artist, another makeup artist, or would an assistant replace you?
That it's so important to plan for contingencies. It's not even funny, because sometimes things happen.
Yes.
And you may not even have anticipated for it. So what I normally do when I do a trial, I always have my assistant with me. Yes. So she can see what I'm doing.
Yes.
She see what I'm doing, the products I'm using. Usually when you do a trial, I'll even write down what I'm using on the bride, just in case she needs to shadow me on the day or step in. Thank God I've never had an emergency where I have not showed up. I thank God it's never happened. Even if I was unwell, and there's a time I was unwell, I dragged myself out of bed and I went. And I was like, just hanging there for 3 hours, you'll be okay. And then you can go and sleep it off. But it's very important to have contingencies. I can't tell you how many calls I get from brides. They're like, please come now. And I'm like, what do you mean come now? They're like, our makeup artist hasn't shown up. The wedding is in 2 hours. And that's a very difficult situation to put yourself in as a makeup artist, because you're coming into a situation where you have no control. Yes. You don't know what's happening. They might be very apprehensive about you. They're looking for someone to blame your it, you know? So it's a very tricky situation, but it's always good to have contingencies. And that's why I always have a team to work with, so that even for whatever reason I'm not there, someone else can step in for me.
Okay. I think we conclude with parting shots. We'll start with Mumbi, but before then,
is it my side, or is Eunice frozen?
I think her net is.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe as I hold the thought, I think she wanted to ask your parting shot. Ruthie, Eunice wanted to ask your parting shot. I think her internet has disappeared. That's why I'm here. Yeah.
So for the parting shot for the brides, like when we began, we said, of course, even though we're in a pandemic, the bride still wants to look her best, and there's no reason why you shouldn't. Of course, just pick up the phone. If you're looking for a makeup artist, go on the internet, see what's available out there. Pick up the phone and call the makeup artist. You get a very good feel from someone when you speak to them. And you can tell, are they warm? Are we clicking? Is this someone I can work with? Because you reserve the right to choose who is going to do your makeup at the end of the day, because it's your big day. And then always insist on a trial as much as possible. It's so important to meet in person. It's so important to have that look done for you before, so you can tell how you're going to respond to it, whether you like it. And yes, at the end of the day, if you have a good feel about someone, about their work, of course you have to put them to task. Make sure that like the hygiene standards are 100%. they really are taking those precautions that they need to. They're wearing their mask, they're disinfecting, they're sanitizing, everything that they need to do to keep you safe and themselves safe. And yes, and relax it, like Mumbi say, pray, put it in God's hands. And I think it's going to be amazing. But of course, you have to do your due diligence as a bride. Just do your due diligence. Cyber stalk your makeup artists. Just make sure you read their reviews. What are people saying about them? And then make your own decision at the end of the day.
Okay. So Eunice, I took over when you disappeared. So I just asked for Ruthie's parting shot. By the way, Ruthie, I like this thing in your back, Glow Getter. I love it. I love the color.
You can see it's a glow getter. Yes.
What is that?
It was actually a gift. Like instead of saying go getter, it says glow getter. Just like glow in terms of like glam.
So is it a product or what was inside?
Actually, when you open it up, it's actually like a scented candle. It has like scented sticks that you can just put in and it scents the room.
It's a room diffuser.
Yes. Yes.
It's so beautiful. I love it. It just, it really takes that background from, hey. And I love it. I love the general look and everything. And your colors. They just really, really go. Yeah.
Thank you. I had to represent.
Yeah, today you're represented, let me tell you. You have represented. You put the rest of us to shame. Yeah, great. Moonbi,
Yes.
just your parting shots.
Oh, sorry, my parting shot?
No, Moonbi. I think we, yes.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
My parting shot would be to the brides to be. You are already the star of the ceremony. You're the bride. That ceremony of, well, there's the groom, of course, but all eyes are always on the bride. So relax, even as you plan the wedding. I think makeup, well, at the risk of sounding poetic, I think makeup will make your face look beautiful if you're also settled from within. So my other parting shot is please reach out to Ruth. She'll really make your day very beautiful and special. And yeah, and like take it easy. Trust them. Trust that they know their work. Yeah. And thank you to everybody.
Yeah.
And pray hard for every step of the wedding. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, prayer really helps. My parting shot, Eunice, before I give to you, is that the show must go on. Remember, this is not a birthday. I mean, this is to brides, not a birthday that you have an opportunity to redeem yourself later. It's a show, and the show must go on. So I hope you've learned a lot. Somebody was asking, Ruthie, do you take interns? And I said, yes, you do take interns, and they can reach out to you, but at a fee. Yeah, it's not free, at a fee. So they can reach out to you, and it's a good thing to just learn how to do that makeup. You don't want on the honeymoon your husband looking at you and thinking, and who are you? And yeah, you want to maintain that look, even on honeymoon and, even after. You want to look really good. So thank you, the viewers who joined us on YouTube and even live on Zoom. Until next week, Eunice, you take over. You let me know when I can end. We cannot hear you, Eunice. You are muted.
Sorry about that. I was saying I'd just like to echo my thanks to Ruthie And so Mumbi, you have been a wonderful, wonderful panelist. You have shared so much. And I think going forth, for those who are listening and those who will be listening to us in future, because this video or this recording goes to Samantha's Bridal YouTube channel, those who will be listening in, I think they'll pick a thing or two. I'm very confident about that because myself as the moderator, I have picked a thing or two. And even some, because it has been a very educational session. I also want to give a big thank you to those who have joined us tonight. You have created the time to be with us here on Zoom and on YouTube, and we just don't take it for granted. We want to say a big thank you. We want to say thank you to Catherine for giving us this platform, and because we have somewhere we can go and discuss things pertaining to weddings. We started with you just got engaged, what next? And then now we went to the wedding must go on during last week's session. And today we have been speaking about getting glammed up and getting the perfect picture and everything to do with makeup. And next week we shall be speaking about decor inspirations, and we shall be having Terry Mugo of Tandy Events. And it's just a very good platform. And I just want to echo my thanks to Catherine. And to our attendees, I also want to welcome you next week, same place, Zoom and YouTube, same time, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We have slightly gone past the time, but that's just how you know how educational the session has been. So I just want to say thank you once more, and I invite you next week for Wedding Wednesdays, same place at 7 p.m. Thank you so much, Ruthie. Thank you, Mombi. Thank you, Catherine, and good night.